Alright, so we're going to get this stuck on here, and what we're doing is the stretch pot. So when we're getting it centered, you're going to use primarily this part of your hand and this part right here. And you're just going to brace yourself best you can with your arm kind of tucked into your side. And that way you can just lean forward. You know, if you're up here, you're just kind of, you have no choice but to kind of muscle the clay. So if you're relaxed, you kind of brace somewhere. That way you can just lean into the clay. So just by sitting here and leaning into it, it's going to already start pulling itself around. And you know, the more I lean into it, the taller it's going to get. So I'm going to take a hand on top, really just kind of all flat, just using that area. I'm going to smash it down. And so my arm's here holding still. I'm just kind of smashing that down. I'm going to roll the top of my hand down the side of the clay there. Just hold it nice and steady. So you want to, once it's spinning all the way nice and smooth like that, that's when you can start to the next steps of it. But get it centered before you start working on it and doing anything else. That's the toughest part, is the centering. So I'll knock it off real quick so you can see it again. So just using this part of my hand and one hand on top, I'm just going to kind of hold still. Actually watching the videos I make it, not even looking at the pot, but you can, so from here you're going to make the hole in it once you've got it centered. And same thing, I've got my arm relaxed on my leg. I'm not like up here trying to do it. Got my, you know, everything's making points of contact. And although I'm pressing down with my left hand, I'm using my right hand just to keep my left hand steady. So I'm just going to start pressing straight down, keeping my left hand steady with my right hand. So now we've opened it up, got a nice hole in there. Now I'm going to widen it up just by pulling it straight back towards myself. And same thing, I've got two hands touching each other. My arms are resting on my legs. They're not up here as I'm doing anything. I've always got my arms resting on my legs. And you can see how close I am to the wheel. If you're sitting real far back, you're going to have a hard time. You know, you want to be kind of close to it to get your arms to be able to rest. So here I'm just going to open it up. Two hands touching, lots of points of contact everywhere. Now we've opened it up. Now is a good time just to smooth off the bottom and really compress that bottom, working from the outside edge to the inside edge. And it's not an issue very much of the time, but when your pots are getting cracks in them, this is usually the number one reason why. Is there's a lack of compression in the clay particles, and they're all just kind of open, and so the cracks form. So if you compress it real good, everything kind of stays together. So from here, I'm going to start to lift up the walls now that I've opened it up. And this is, I do want a thick wall, so as we're doing this, I'm not trying to pull up really tall and get this real thin wall. I want these walls to be a little bit thicker, really at least a centimeter, half-inch thick is probably a good area of the wall. And I'm just going to go for a straight cylinder. You don't have to lift it up very high. I am leaving the walls kind of thick. It's just going to be a straight cylinder. So if you don't lift yours up this high, this doesn't have to be this high. You know, it's just whatever, as high as you can get it while still leaving probably about a half-inch thickness of clay. So here I'm going to use the wood knife tool to just clean up the cylinder. Before I stretch it out, I want everything to be nice and clean for when I start the next step. So at the bottom, clean up there. I'm going to smooth off the outside with this rubber rib. A nice smooth start. And I always kind of you know, just as you go along, I like to keep the lip round. I don't want to get this flat edge on top. So once you've got this nice cleaned up smooth cylinder, I'm going to give myself just a couple of points to start from. So, you know, you can do this from wherever you want. If you want a small little band, you can do a small band, but I'm going to do kind of most of the pot here. So I'm starting about 1 centimeter up to another about 1 centimeter from the top. So I've got these bands here and here now. I'm going to use that as a guideline to score it. And, you know, there's a bunch of different tools that you can use. What we have here, you know, just anything that'll score it, you know, so really fine tooth, that works good. So maybe I'll do a few of them just to so you guys can see what they look like. Start with that one. And then we'll go. So we got a nice straight edge on that one. This one I'm going to give it a little kind of movement to it.
Oh, that looks nice.
So I was just kind of rocking my wrist back and forth as I went up. And I'll do one more. So try to do it in front of you. This one's going to be a lot thicker. And see, so do that again, kind of give it a little move. Back to this one. Back to the little one again. And so that's why I leave it thick, is that I have somewhere to kind of carve into when I'm doing it. I'll get a little one on this side. And I missed it. And I think, what are we, back to the big one? That side, okay. Alright, so from here, I'm going to do it with I'm going to use a rib to do it. You can use your hand, but you know, one of these ribs is real nice to use. So whether you know, you're more comfortable using your hand or sponge, whatever, we're just going to come onto the inside of this and just start to push it out a little bit. And just take your time, you know, don't push it all out in one move. And you know, you can see how far you want to push it out. You can go really far and turn this thing like into a sea urchin if you want to. But if you wanted to use it as a bowl to eat out of, or something more practical, we're going to add on to this next week. I'll show you another demo next week where this kind of becomes a part of it. Real quickly, I'll clean up the bottom while it's spinning. For a foot. I'm not so sure that this piece is going to get trimmed, so I'm going to kind of clean up the profile of it. And there's our stretch pot.
Oh, nice.